Hello, welcome to Seesar Gear. Today we're going to be talking about what I think is one of the most underrated synths. Now, I am newer probably to synthesizers than I am to just general noise making. I've been making noise of various acoustic and electroacoustic types for probably 45 years. And I've probably only been making electronic music for 15 years because I'm late to the game. But what I can say is that when I started, I was looking for something like this, and I didn't know what to get, and I was experimenting with building my own things. I was doing a lot of work with pickups running through effects pedals and things like that, and I discovered lots of different circuits that were things I could, I guess, get my head around. Let's just put it that way. And then I found the Neutron and was able to kind of dive into that pretty quickly and do lots of the stuff that I wanted to do with good quality sound and a fairly low learning curve. And every review that I see of the Neutron has a couple of good points or some good patches to experiment with, but I don't see anybody who's not either trying to use it for recreating 80s synth pop or is trying to talk really heavily about the circuitry or things that could be improved, or there's so many discussions of the Neutron. Lots of people dislike it, lots of people love it. There's, the sister one just came out fairly recently, the Proton, which I do not have yet. I'll probably end up with a Proton, though. And what I haven't run across is what drove me to create this channel, and that is discussions of how to use equipment to make either noisy music or experimental music, or your own path that is not parametered, I guess I'll say, not harnessed in by the expectation of doing something more accessible or standardized or whatnot. So when I see reviews that have, here's how to hook up a keyboard to it, here's how to play it with a quantized pseudo polyphonic, or here's a way to keep it from being noisy. I get that one a lot, and I've seen at least two videos that talk about that. Well, forget all of that. This is Seesar music, and Seesar is going to make the madness, and this is exactly what I have this channel for. So what I want to do is, I'm not going to really go over the controls too much, but I'll go over it just a little bit. But there's plenty of videos out there that talk about the controls and what it does. But after I give you the tiniest little overview, I'm going to try to do two or three things. I'm going to try to create some patches, or a patch that's sort of a Krell patch. I'm going to try to come up with sort of a drone or something noisy. Just give you an example of some of the things that it can do. And it may take a little longer in this video to concentrate on creating with it, because it's not a push button, make a cool sound sort of thing. You definitely have to arrange for the circuitry to do what you wanted to do and then dial it in. Okay, let's take a peek. So you got two oscillators on this side. You have a filter and frequency and resonance and that kind of stuff. You got modulation for that. You have an LFO. You can change the shape of it and the rate of it. You have an overdrive that effectively is a harsh volume, we'll say on this one, but I'll tell you a little important bit about that in a minute. My favorite bit, the delay unit. There's two envelopes. If you are working with a patch that allows you to shape a certain element of the electronic pulses, then you can use these to make some quite different sounds. You've got a noise, you've circuit, you've got a VCA, you've got two attenuators, which is nice because then you can kind of balance out things without losing anything. It's a little you can set them up I think as attenuverters depending on what you're patching in, and then you have a slew for sliding things together, of course, and my other favorite bit is the sample and hold. So you have a sampling rate and a gliding rate between the samples. It has MIDI in and out and through, with the out and through on the back, and it's got headphone jack and the standard stuff, and it is intended, I guess we'll say intended, to be paired with other Behringer synths of the same type, specifically the Proton, but also the K2, their version of the K2 and their version of the Prophet. Those are the same size, and you can get a case for them and that kind of thing. I also have seen people with a case for 3 of these, which is pretty snappy. That I think is a very cool little bit to do, because then you can obviously triple or more how they interact with each other, because you also have this tasty little 56-point patch bay over here. You have the inputs on the left, the outputs on the right, and you're able to, as with any semi-modular, reroute the circuitry to do the things that you want to do. So normal stuff. That's, it's a synthesizer. But what I will say too is it's nice to have it in this one singular package. It's nice to have it fairly clearly labeled. Now, you may notice that there's a green faceplate on this one. That's because I absolutely hate the color red. It really agitates me to no end, and I know why it does. There's an explanation for it, but we won't go into that. We're just going to say I wanted something other than red, so I got this replacement faceplate, and it's lovely. It's exactly what I want. But most of them are red, but you can get lots of different customized faceplates for it as well if you are like me and don't want to stare at the red background. The sounds that it can make are pretty wide range, and this is why I like it so much. You have the capabilities of, like I said before, playing synth poppy type stuff, but you, instead of just using it as a sound source for a controller, I think the beauty of the Neutron is in the fact that you can play it without a controller and create with the circuit itself. And I know this is something that many synths can do. It's not unique to this, but what's nice about this one is the availability of this synth, the price of this synth, and the layout of the synth. So the availability is wide range. I mean, pretty much everybody carries the Neutron, and it is now down to, I'm going to say, pretty steadily under $300. I think most places have it for on the order of 250 or 280 or something US dollars. And the Proton is a little bit more pricey, but of course it just came out. So I think it's closer to 350 or 400. It'll probably come down at some point. And it is a really easy to understand layout. It's very well labeled. It's very parsed, very well parsed in terms of how it functions. You know, you got your sound sources here. You have your modulation elements here. You have your effects units kind of at the top, and then you have your envelopes at the bottom. And over here is more utility stuff. However, the utility stuff obviously functions with the rest of the circuits. So it's a nice layout. It's pretty logical if you are savvy with synthesizers. If you're not, if this is something that you thought about picking up but decided not to because it was confusing or whatnot, I say you won't be disappointed if you get it, because what will happen is it will guide you through how the circuits work, how synthesizers work, and it's a great instrument on which to cut your teeth, and it's a great instrument if you are a seasoned synthesizer player or, you know, electronic artist, because then you'll know all the ins and outs, and it becomes a much more nuanced and functional tool. So thumbs up on the Neutron in many levels. So let's make some noises. I believe what I have patched in here is sort of a Krell patch, sort of a noisy patch, although I don't have the noise itself patched in. The overdrive is normaled in, and it's still got some possibilities for being a little bit out of control, which is exactly how I like it. So let's have a listen. I literally, I don't remember what I've patched in here, even though I did it earlier today. Yeah, now we're talking. All right, so let's change the values of some stuff and see what we can get into. That was telling me that's a nice place to stop. So I'm gonna we'll talk about that a little bit, I guess. See, like I literally just threw this together in seconds and twisted some knobs and didn't twist some knobs. It does lots of generative stuff on its own, which is so much fun. I have something along the lines of the sample and hold is going to the LFO. The LFO is also connected to itself, it looks like. No, this is, sorry, I've got this wrong. This is going to, the VCA. And then there's the delay time. The delay unit itself is going to the second oscillator, and the first oscillator is going to the LFO, so that's looped back to that. And then you have the second LFO is also being, looks like it's being controlled by the first oscillator, like it's got a modulation source of the first oscillator. And the combination of all the sounds is going to the delay unit. So that's how I've got this patched out. I can put this exact patch, if you want, into the description. I just ask if you want me to do that. I'm happy to do it. I did take a picture of it, and I'll make sure that I remember it. And as a matter of fact, that's one thing that I know everybody probably knows about. But if you don't, there are such things as patch diagrams, and you can get basically a piece of paper that has all the knobs written on it, but it's blank. And you say, well, this VCO is at approximately 2 o'clock. This one's a little more like 1 o'clock. And you go through and tick off where each knob is. You go through every little thing. This is on, this is on, this is off. And then you draw your patch in so that you know which in is going to which out, and vice, etc. And then you have a starting point for returning to this configuration if you wanted to. All right, let's see here. I am going to, I guess I'll unpatch this, and we can start over and see if we can come up with something new. Yeah, let's do that. I will say though, just before we get to that, so I'll kind of end with that afterwards, is thumbs up on the Neutron. The Neutron is definitely something you should consider if you are looking to get into synthesizers, or if you're looking to have something that you don't have to have a keyboard, and you want to create a lot of the sounds that I'll say are adventurous but expected sounds from an analog synth. You can do it, and do it well, with the Neutron. It's a workhorse, it's functional, it's flexible, all the good stuff. So well done, Behringer. Thank you. All right, let's see what we got here. So we're just gonna erase here. Hope I can remember if somebody wants the patch. I think I took a picture. No more cables in the patch bay. All right, so let's see what we got now. Probably nothing. Yeah, there's not much going on now. Let's get some sound. So here's the trick I was going to talk about before. The overdrive being normaled in, you have to turn up the level of that to get any sound. And then it's also normal to the VCA and the output. So the output's kind of your master control, but other circuits have to be in operation as well. So here's some sound. Obviously, you've got all right, we'll reduce the feedback, which is, it does take a lot for me to do that. All right, let's do a few things while let's try not to explode. So, for example, let's take the first oscillator and just modulate the second oscillator. Pretty fun. All right, let's take the second oscillator and trigger the LFO. And and then maybe we'll take the entirety of the mix and put in the delay. How about this? Let's see if I can get a little bit more of a droney sound going. So let's smooth out our LFO, and let's maybe put the second VCO to oscillate the first one. What if I put it in the, oh, wrong one. We'll put it in the sample and hold, and then take the sample and hold out and send that to everything. And then maybe the noise to the we're getting back to a little bit of a Krell patch kind of thing. Still pretty fun. All right, we're gonna try something else. I'm gonna do one more thing, and then I'll let you be relieved of duty from dealing with me. Okay, not what I wanted. It sounded fun, but let's we're trying something. Okay, all right, I'll quit playing. Hours of fun. Hours, literal hours of fun. Anyway, I know this is just a random sample. I'll probably need to cover more things with the Neutron, but I didn't want it to slip through the cracks and not get any attention, because it is a very powerful and really fun instrument. And if, in my opinion, I've got a bunch of Behringer stuff, and I think that Behringer has stepped up to the plate from where they used to be. I'm probably not supposed to say that kind of thing, but I think their quality is definitely upscaled. And if you stick to particularly things that they designed that are their specific instruments, like the Neutron, then you're going to be doing just fine. But they've also, the Edge is really, really cool. I don't have one. I have a friend who has one. And as a matter of fact, maybe we'll get him on the channel, because he's doing lots of cool things with synths. And it's very impressive as well, especially the things that he's starting to do with it. So I'm not gonna say anything negative about Behringer. I know some people have things that they think are negative, but in my opinion, especially for the price point is comparatively low, and the quality is comparatively excellent for that price point. So thumbs up as far as I'm concerned. Go Behringer. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, there's obviously SeesarMusic.com/gear. My Instagram channels are Seesar_music for music and composition stuff, and Seesar_gear for previews of what I'm going to have on this channel. And you can, just visit my website and see all kinds of cool stuff and listen to things and be my friend. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.